Have you ever noticed how social media is super social until you don't want it to be anymore? Like as soon as things get a little too real, you hop on the DMs and message that person directly. As soon as something gets serious or personal, you take it from the normal comments, right, to the DMs. And that makes me think, what would it be like if we could DM God, right? If we could get real and serious with Him, what are some of the things we would talk about? Or what would we say? I think that the things you would say to God really ultimately depend on what you think of Him, who you perceive Him to be. For example, the way you talk to your best friend, right, is way different than the way you talk to your grandma. Point being, the way you talk to someone depends on who you believe you're talking to. And the same thing is true for God. The things we say to God depends on who He is to you. So if the way we talk to God depends on what you think of Him, what do you think of Him? Who do you think God is? Who is He to you? Some people may think of God as, say, a distant grandfather, right? He's just kind of a grumpy old man who's just kind of been around your whole life, but you're not very close to. You definitely can't be yourself around them, and they probably also judge you for quite a few things that you do. Some people may see God as like an angry police officer, always laying down the law, making sure you receive the maximum punishment for your shortcomings. Some people see God as like a paramedic. You're glad they're around, but you only call them when you need them, and you don't call unless it's an emergency. And maybe some people see God as just a vending machine. It's not that you need something, it's that you just want something. God, can I get the newest iPhone? Or God, would you just bless me with a Hulu account? God, would you help me pass this chemistry test? Sometimes the only reason we talk to God is maybe because we think that we can get something out of Him. And truth be told, God is none of these. But I think sometimes we still get caught up in thinking this way. See, when we treat prayer like it's our last option or like it's some sort of magical solution to our problems, maybe it's not God who's to blame when we don't get what we want. Maybe we're thinking about prayer all wrong. What if we're missing the point of prayer? And that begs the question, if prayer isn't about us getting what we want or telling God what we think, then what's the point? There's a guy named James in the New Testament. It's Jesus' half-brother, and he has an interesting perspective when it comes to our prayer life. He says this in James 4:8. He says, come near to God, and He'll come near to you. It's so simple, but still so revolutionary. See, he said the point of prayer is all about proximity to God. It's all about staying close. And James was amazed in his own life how once he stopped rebelling and started to draw near to God, he was amazed how God met him where he was. James is saying, prayer is not about getting God to hear you. See, oftentimes we try to figure out exactly what we need to do to be heard by God. Or we think if we say our prayer the right way, we can get what we want, or maybe we can impress God with whatever we say, or whatever. But David in the Old Testament has the same perspective as James when he says this in Psalm 145. He says, the Lord is near to all who call on Him, to all who call on Him in truth. Again, it's about being near to God. Or we could put it this way, right? Prayer is about connecting, not just getting. See, talking to God and connecting with God are very different. To make a connection with God in your prayer life, you need to take some time to stop and listen. He just might have something life-changing to whisper to your heart. If you need a starting point to practice connecting with God, there's an acronym that helps me jumpstart my prayer life. It's ACTS. A is adoration. Give Him some praise. Tell Him how amazing, how glorious, how powerful He is. Give Him some compliments. This sets the stage for the rest of your prayer and helps serve as a reminder for us as to who we're actually talking to. C is confess. Bring something you're struggling with to the table. Talk about some of the tough things that are going on in your heart and in your life. There's nothing that God can't handle. And then T is thanks. Thank Him for forgiving the things you just confessed. Thank Him for His love. Thank Him for anything that you're thankful for. And then S is supplication, and this is just a big word for ask away. You know, if there's something specific you'd like to ask of God, bring that to Him. He likes to bless His children. And this is a great formula for connecting with God in our prayers on a different level. And I'm excited for you to explore this a little more with your friends and your leaders in your life group.